So, you want to make a game and you have an idea. That's how all games start out, right? Ideas? Well, yes and no. You see, many people make no progress in becoming a game developer because they are hunting for this fully formed gem that no one has ever thought of. They imagine this idea where it's also clear that it practically designed itself. I need you to understand something. These ideas do not exist. They're imagination. Most games on Roblox took inspiration from other games. So thinking that your idea is unoriginal or bad doesn't really matter, especially when you're starting out. This is a central problem with almost all people pursuing creative careers. And in this video, I'll be breaking down this simple but hard issue that people like you and I deal with every day, and why you should pursue your bad ideas. First, why your game ideas seem so bad. I'm going to start off with this visual right here. Planning, production, testing, and launch. Specifically these two beginning sections, planning and production. Now, how long have you been stuck in the planning or production stage? Understand that planning is meant to give you a direction, not a full-blown execution or blueprint. That's not how developing your game works. Keyword develop. Games are not designed with an idea. Your ideas are just a seed for the game. And something to note is, there is no such thing as a fully developed blueprint when you're starting your game. Even if you're some massive corporation with hundreds of employees, most of the design and key aspects come from the production and testing phase. The planning phase gives direction. The production phase gives design and development. It's important to use different words for these terms. Ideas, design, develop, blueprint. They're all similar but have key differences that make them entirely different words. That is why all of your ideas seem terrible, because they're just ideas, not designs. And all designs start out with seemingly bad ideas. So you might ask, how should I reserve these ideas to design later on? Write down your bad ideas. Whatever method you choose, whether it's your notes app on your phone, a journal, or even the back of your notebook for math class, write the bad and good ideas down. You might say, but I don't have any ideas to write down. Well, then that is simply just you waiting for the imaginary perfect gem. You see, when observing these ideas, your awareness of whether or not they're good or bad is irrelevant. Don't try to force yourself to have good ideas. That is backwards thinking and misses the point of an idea. They don't have to be and shouldn't be fully formed thoughts. Remember, no idea is 100% original, and no idea is initially good. What makes an idea original is when you start designing it. That's when you add your own twist, your spice to innovate. Arsenal was inspired by multiple games by Valve. Evade was inspired by Gmod by Valve. Blade Ball was inspired by a mechanic from Team Fortress 2 by Valve. So basically just copy Valve and your game will blow up. No, but seriously, it is important to understand that you could argue every game on Roblox isn't 100% original. But you can go deeper and say that the games they were inspired by aren't 100% original either. So that is why whether or not your idea is original doesn't matter. What matters is what you do to design it and develop it into something that resonates with players. Almost every idea I've noted down has been unplanned or impulsive, almost like a shower thought. That is the power of your current, present self. Being in the moment creates the best ideas. With all of this in mind, the planning phase should take the least amount of time by far, because all it really does is give you a direction. You can change the direction later, but you won't know where to steer if you don't start moving. So write down your ideas, good or bad. The future you can do the designing. Current you in the present gives the idea seeds for future you to decide whether or not to design, plant, and water them. So let's say you are future you. You already have an idea, or multiple ideas. You might think, oh, all that stuff is to water my plants and then my game will explode. Well, no. You must think about how you will water your plant, how much sunshine you give it, and where the motivation to even water your plant comes from. Because a lot of plants die from lack of watering. But I'm going to tell you why that might be okay and how to prevent it when it comes to your game idea. Watering is how much effort you put in developing your seed or idea. Sunshine is the positioning of your plant. The more sunshine your seed gets, the more it will grow with the same amount of effort. Let your ideas die. First off, we're using plants as an example for your game idea. I'm not encouraging you to let your plants die in real life. Let's say you're starting out and you think you found the gem. This idea actually seems good, and you know exactly how you want it to look. Well, you may be able to visualize it, but most likely it's not within your reach as a game developer, coder, builder, animator to effectively water these idea gems. If you're starting out, your goal should be to learn, not excel. You cannot learn and expect to excel at the same time. Setting yourself apart is something you learn to do over time. You don't start out that way without any build-up. Because what happens is, if your goal is to make a good game and still learn, your precious game will be swallowed by the market because a lot of people more skilled than you are making that same game. So, as you can see in this 3-part pyramid of developing an idea, if you have lackluster sunshine, for example, you're taking on a game too big for your current skill set, your motivation to water your seed will diminish, and as a result, you will put less effort into watering. The way you leverage your effort with sunshine is pivotal in whether or not you will have the motivation to grow your seed into a plant. This all translates into designing your ideas into games. Game development is a marathon, not a sprint. Your first 3, 5, 10 games won't be good, not because you don't have a good idea, but because you don't have the skill to make a good idea work. When you're starting out and doing game development solo, you have to be willing to abandon these gems for the time being. Because what holding on to these gems at your current level essentially looks like is you trying to water a plant that's in a pitch black room. And when you've been watering that plant for weeks, months, you will end up nowhere and your motivation to water it will die. And that's if you even last that long trying to make something that you aren't capable of. This is the unfortunate outcome of many game developers, and I really urge you to take this in as much as you can, because I went through it, and I realized that I needed a different seed. So I'm hoping that you don't have to go through it too. I believe that the faster you can let go of these ideas, the more freely better ideas will come to you. Most of your favorite games on Roblox, game developers behind them made tons of abandoned projects, experimental prototypes that never saw the light of day, and failed launches before they got to that ultimate game. Failure is perspective. The central difference between the top game developers and the ones who haven't quite made it is what they do after they fail, and how long they are willing to work towards that ultimate game. The way I see it, it's like a marathon. You don't start running a marathon by just signing up for it. You start running a marathon when you start training, when you start losing weight, and drinking more water. You do mini marathons as practice. And a lot of people, when they want to become a game developer, they just start running. But I want to actually finish this marathon, so I'm going to prepare for it properly. And I'm going to look at every bad idea as training for the marathon. So that is why your game ideas suck, because they have to. If you're watering/putting effort into your idea, and you're unexplainably losing motivation, you need to find a new seed with more sunshine. Let me know your thoughts on this concept in the comment section, and watch this video on screen for more tips on game development in Roblox.